He looked me in the eye and said he needed someone younger, like I was a worn-out coat he'd outgrown. But I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just said 5 words that changed everything. The scent of cinnamon rolls lingered in the kitchen, even though no one had eaten them. It was Sunday, their ritual. For 25 years, she'd baked the same batch. 6 rolls, golden, soft, a hint of cream cheese on top. He always had 2. She'd have 1. The kids, when they still lived there, fought over the rest. But now the rolls sat untouched, a cooling monument to a marriage slipping out of her hands. She turned off the oven light and leaned against the counter. Her robe was soft flannel, the same one he'd gifted her on their 10th anniversary. "To my warmest place," the card had said. She still kept that card in her nightstand drawer. He was in the living room, hunched over his phone, eyes flicking up only when the news blared something dramatic. "How's work?" she asked, voice casual. "Busy," he said without looking up. "Lots going on." That was all. No smile, no follow-up. She nodded, wrapped her arms around herself. She hadn't noticed how cold it had gotten. Anna Martin was 49. She hadn't worn lipstick in weeks, maybe months, not since Chloe's wedding in June. Her hair was still thick, though the grays had begun to whisper their presence at her temples. She worked part-time at a local library, taught a writing workshop once a week, and still packed her husband's lunch every morning, out of habit, not hope. She loved stories, especially the ones where women found their way back to themselves. But she never imagined she'd need to be one of them. David Martin was 52. He owned a design firm downtown, wore slim-fitted suits now, and had started going to the gym again. "Health matters at this age," he said. He came home later than he used to. Sometimes he smelled faintly of cologne she didn't recognize. Not hers, not even his usual brand. He'd lost weight, started using moisturizer. His texts had become brief. Still, she hadn't asked. Not really. Not until that morning. They were sitting across from each other at the breakfast table. Her fingers curled around a coffee mug. His plate was empty. "David," she began. He looked up, finally. "Yeah?" She hesitated, then asked, "Are you seeing someone?" The silence was louder than the clock ticking behind them. His face didn't twist in shock. There was no anger, just exhaustion. And then honesty. "He didn't mean for it to happen," he said quietly. "But yes, there's someone." Her world didn't explode. It folded, quietly, like laundry. She nodded. "Is she younger?" He didn't answer right away, but he didn't need to. The pain wasn't in the betrayal. It was in the ease of it. Welcome back, my beautiful family and friends. If you're hooked in and you're ready to enjoy this story, click subscribe and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Because tomorrow I will be giving you another story just as interesting as this one, and you don't want to miss it. Now let us begin. The silence that followed his confession wasn't violent. It was surgical. Anna sat still, her coffee at long gone cold, but she didn't move to warm it. Her hands lay calmly in her lap, but inside her chest, something wild and wordless was tearing loose. He cleared his throat. "It's not serious. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be, but I feel alive again, Anna, for the first time in a long time." Her eyes didn't blink. "Alive?" she echoed. He nodded, not looking at her. "I didn't plan for this. You know I didn't." She watched him, this man she had known for most of her adult life, This man who once wrote poems on Post-it notes and tucked them into her jacket pockets. This man who cried when their daughter Chloe was born. This man who now sat across from her saying he felt alive because of someone else. She tilted her head. I was 24 when we met, David. His brow furrowed slightly. I know. I was young, soft, wide-eyed. You said I was the most interesting woman you'd ever met. You were, he said quickly, almost defensively. You are. Her voice didn't rise. It softened. I bore your children. I wiped tears off your father's face at his funeral. I sold my mother's ring to help cover your startup loan in '04. I stayed up all night when you had your first panic attack. I didn't run when you lost your job for 7 months. I gave up a lot of me, David. His face flushed now, shame surfacing, but still he said nothing. Anna leaned forward just slightly, her voice controlled, steady, lethal in its calm, landed like a final bell before judgment. If what you want is someone younger, go. But understand this, you are never going to find a version of me in her. Not at 20, 30, or 40. What I gave you, what I was for you, takes decades, takes storms, takes blood and bone. You want fresh skin? Then forget the soul that carried you. David looked up sharply. Anna's breath caught, but not from pain, from something else. Power. She stood. I'll pack you a bag, but only once. He didn't speak. Couldn't, because he knew she was right. Because he had come into this conversation expecting tears, maybe begging, a door left cracked open. But instead, she'd sealed it, with dignity, with truth. As she walked up the stairs, her hand grazed the railing, chipped at the edge. She remembered when Chloe fell down those same stairs as a child, how David had panicked, lifting her gently, sobbing into her curls. They were young then, messy, desperate, but real. She didn't cry now. She pulled out the old suitcase, the one they used to take to Cape May every summer. She ran her fingers over the zipper. It felt like she was packing a version of herself, not just his clothes. He stayed at the table, unmoving. Outside, birds were chirping, a normal Sunday. But his insides were in chaos. He hadn't expected it to feel like this. He thought he was just choosing something different, something easier, something that didn't remind him he was aging, that life was finite. But Anna, her words rang in his head. What I gave you takes decades. He realized then he hadn't been chasing youth, he'd been running from time. And in doing so, he had underestimated the woman who carried it. She came back downstairs, set the suitcase beside the door. I'll need time, she said, to think, to decide if I'm grieving a man who died or divorcing one who walked away. And then a pause. But don't confuse quiet with weakness, David. I was quiet because I believed in us, not because I had nothing to say. She walked past him into the sunlit kitchen. She picked up the cold cinnamon roll, took a bite. Have you ever found your strength in the middle of heartbreak? Have you ever shocked yourself with what you were capable of saying? Tell us below. The first 2 days felt like floating in a fog. Anna stayed home from work. She told the library she had a stomach bug, and in a way, she did. A soul-sick ache that wrapped around her lungs every time she walked past the hallway mirror. She didn't cry much. She did laundry, cooked a little. She kept the house moving like muscle memory. But inside, she replayed that morning like a scratched vinyl record. over and over. You want fresh skin, then forget the soul that carried you. Had she gone too far? Had she waited too long to speak? Every corner of the house whispered memories. The coffee stain on the carpet from the night he spilled it during a thunderstorm. The dent on the fridge where their son had once kicked it after a breakup. The wind chime she hung after their 20th anniversary, one of the few gifts he truly surprised her with. Now, the wind outside made them tinkle, a hollow, metallic sound. She wasn't sure what was worse, the betrayal or the echo of all the quiet years leading to it. David moved into a short-term rental 2 neighborhoods away. A coworker helped him move the bag Anna packed. He said it was temporary. He still used the word pause. The apartment was clean, modern, white walls, chrome fixtures. It looked like a magazine spread and felt like a hotel room. He stared at the bed the first night, wondering why it felt so flat. The younger woman, Claire, had texted him that evening. "You okay? Missed you today. Hope it went all right." He stared at it for a while, then locked the screen, didn't reply. He couldn't stop hearing Anna's voice. Don't confuse quiet with weakness. Why had he wanted someone else? Not just Claire, anyone. What was he chasing? His therapist once said, "Men in midlife crises often try to escape mortality by chasing youth. But they don't want youth. They want to forget they're dying." He hadn't believed that then, but now it echoed in his bones. On day 3, he called her. Hi. Long pause. "I just wanted to check in, see how you're doing." Her voice was neutral. "I'm okay." Another silence. "I'm sorry, Anna." She sighed, not angrily, not dismissively, just tired. "I know you are, but sorry isn't a key. It doesn't unlock what broke." "I didn't mean to hurt you." "I don't think you meant anything," she said quietly. "That's part of the problem." He didn't reply, and neither did she. They hung up after 2 more minutes of empty words and deeper meanings. The call felt like standing outside a locked door, each holding a piece of the key, but neither offering it. Later that night, Anna found an old notebook in her closet, the leather-bound journal he gave her for their 5th anniversary, back when he said she should write a novel. She opened it. The first page was a love note in his handwriting. "To the woman who makes the world feel like home, write your story. I'll always read it." She touched the ink with her thumb. Was that man gone? Or just buried? She didn't know, but she knew this. She wasn't going to disappear. Not into his absence, not into silence. She was going to write again. David stood in front of the mirror in the apartment bathroom, toothbrush in hand. He stared at his own face. The lines were deeper than he remembered, his jaw more angular, his eyes tired. He whispered aloud, like testing the weight of it. "I'm the man who left her." And for the first time since it happened, he felt shame. Real, rising, undeniable shame. Anna stepped outside at midnight. The stars were scattered like secrets across the sky. She lit a candle on the porch, something she used to do when the kids were little, during blackouts or thunderstorms. She sat beside it, wrapped in a blanket, and whispered, just once, "I'm still here." Not for him, for herself. And the flame flickered like it understood. Can love survive if one person wakes up too late? Have you ever waited for someone who never came back the same? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Anna was folding towels when her phone rang. It was Chloe, their daughter. She never called during the week. Anna answered immediately. "Mom!" Chloe's voice was tight, breathless. "Don't panic, okay? It's not serious, but I'm at the ER. I slipped on the stairs and twisted my ankle. It's swollen and Noah's out of town, so I'm alone." Anna was already grabbing her keys. "Text me the hospital. I'm on my way." A pause. "Dad's already here?" Anna froze. "What?" "He was closest. I called both of you." "Okay," Anna said quickly, her heart giving one of those strange fluttery beats. The air smelled like antiseptic and stale coffee. Anna stepped through the ER doors, scanning the waiting area. She spotted them immediately. Chloe in a wheelchair, rolling her eyes. David pacing with crossed arms, looking like a man caught between guilt and boredom. When he saw Anna, he straightened. She nodded, expression unreadable, and walked past him to kneel beside Chloe. "You okay, sweetheart?" She smiled. "Yeah, just sore. They're doing x-rays." Anna smoothed her daughter's hair. "You should have called me first." "She did. You were both on speed dial." Anna didn't look at David, but she could feel his eyes. They were told it would take an hour for results. Chloe was taken into radiology, leaving them alone in the hallway. It was the first time they'd been in a room together in 5 days. He leaned against the wall. She sat in a plastic chair, arms crossed. "She's okay," he said. Anna nodded. He panicked, cried a little on the phone. "She doesn't like hospitals." "Yeah." Silence. He shifted. "You look tired." She gave a short laugh. "Well, I was busy packing your life into a suitcase. Guess that took it out of me." He winced. "Anna!" "No," she said, voice soft but firm. "Don't." He didn't respond, just stared down at the floor. There was something about hospital waiting rooms, sterile, humming, suspended in time, that made her remember things she hadn't asked for. Like the time David waited for hours when she had her first miscarriage. He'd brought her a Sprite, held her hand, promised they'd try again. They were younger, so much younger. Back then their pain had made them closer. Now it felt like a chasm. She stood up to stretch. He finally spoke again. "I read the notebook." She turned. "What?" He swallowed. "The one I gave you years ago. I saw it open on the table last time I was home. You'd started writing again." She didn't answer. "It was beautiful," he said. "The story. The woman in it, she reminded me of you." Anna met his eyes then. "She was me," she said. "At least the version of me you used to see." Something flickered between them. Grief? Recognition? Maybe both. The doctor wheeled Chloe back out, ankle wrapped, crutches in hand. "You're lucky," the doctor smiled. "No break, just a bad sprain." Relief washed over them both. David moved first. "I'll drive her." "No," Anna said instinctively. "She'll stay with me tonight." He looked surprised, but nodded. Chloe frowned. "Dad, I thought I'd stay with—" "Just for tonight," Anna said quickly. "I need the company." David looked between them. He didn't fight it. Back at Anna's house, Chloe limped into her old bedroom, tired and drugged. As Anna tucked her in, she turned and whispered, "Are you and Dad going to be okay?" Anna didn't answer, just kissed her forehead. When she came back downstairs, she found David still there, standing awkwardly in the kitchen. "I left my umbrella in the car. It's pouring." She handed him a spare. "Here." He didn't take it. "Do you want me to come back tomorrow? To check on her?" Anna paused. "She'll be fine." "What about you?" She looked at him then. Really looked. "I'm learning how to be." He nodded slowly. Then, "Anna, I know I can't take it back, but I see it now. what I walked away from. A heartbeat. It wasn't youth I wanted, it was escape, and I didn't realize I was running from the best parts of my life. She didn't speak, just handed him the umbrella again. This time, he took it. Anna stood at the doorway and watched the rain fall long after he drove away. Behind her, the house was quiet again. But something had shifted, just slightly. They'd shared a space, a moment. And for the first time since it broke, the silence between them didn't feel like the end. It felt like a pause. Anna was folding towels when her phone rang. It was Chloe, their daughter. She never called during the week. Anna answered immediately. "Mom," Chloe's voice was tight, breathless. "Don't panic, okay? It's not serious. But I'm at the ER. I slipped on the stairs and twisted my ankle. It's swollen and Noah's out of town, so I'm alone." Anna was already grabbing her keys. "Text me the hospital. I'm on my way." A pause. "Dad's already here." Anna froze. "What?" "He was closest. I called both of you." "Okay," Anna said quickly, her heart giving one of those strange, fluttery beats. "I'll be there soon." The air smelled like antiseptic and stale coffee. Anna stepped through the ER doors, scanning the waiting area. She spotted them immediately. Chloe, in a wheelchair, rolling her eyes. David, pacing with crossed arms, looking like a man caught between guilt and boredom. When he saw Anna, he straightened. She nodded, expression unreadable, and walked past him to kneel beside Chloe. "You okay, sweetheart?" She smiled. "Yeah, just sore. They're doing x-rays." Anna smoothed her daughter's hair. "You should have called me first." "I did. You were both on speed dial." Anna didn't look at David, but she could feel his eyes. They were told it would take an hour for results. Chloe was taken into radiology, leaving them alone in the hallway. It was the first time they'd been in a room together in 5 days. He leaned against the wall. She sat in a plastic chair, arms crossed. "She's okay," he said. Anna nodded. She panicked, he added. Cried a little on the phone. "She doesn't like hospitals." "Yeah." Silence. He shifted. "You look tired." She gave a short laugh. "Well, I was busy packing your life into a suitcase. Guess that took it out of me." He winced. "Anna, no," she said, voice soft but firm. "Don't." He didn't respond, just stared down at the floor. There was something about hospital waiting rooms, sterile, humming, suspended in time, that made her remember things she hadn't asked for. Like the time David waited her hours when she had her first miscarriage. He'd brought her a Sprite, held her hand, promised they'd try again. They were younger, so much younger. Back then, their pain had made them closer. Now it felt like a chasm. She stood up to stretch. He finally spoke again. "I read the notebook." She turned. "What?" He swallowed. "The one I gave you years ago. I saw it open on the table last time I was home. You'd started writing again." She didn't answer. "It was beautiful," he said. "The story, the woman in it, she reminded me of you." Anna met his eyes then. "She was me," she said. "At least the version of me you used to see." Something flickered between them. Grief? Recognition? Maybe both. The doctor wheeled Chloe back out, ankle wrapped, crutches in hand. "You're lucky," the doctor smiled. "No break, just a bad sprain." Relief washed over them both. David moved first. "I'll drive her." "No," Anna said instinctively. "She'll stay with me tonight." He looked surprised, but nodded. Chloe frowned. "Dad, I thought I'd stay with just for tonight." Anna said quickly, "I need the company." David looked between them. He didn't fight it. Back at Anna's house, Chloe limped into her old bedroom, tired and drugged. As Anna tucked her in, she turned and whispered,
"Are you and Dad going to be okay?" Anna didn't answer, just kissed her forehead. When she came back downstairs, she found David still there, standing awkwardly in the kitchen. "I left my umbrella in the car. It's pouring." She handed him a spare. "Here." He didn't take it. "Do you want me to come back tomorrow to check on her?" Anna paused. "She'll be fine." "What about you?" She looked at him then. Really looked. "I'm learning how to be." He nodded slowly. Then, "Anna, I know I can't take it back, but I see it now. What I walked away from. A heartbeat. It wasn't youth I wanted. It was escape, and I didn't realize I was running from the best parts of my life." She didn't speak, just handed him the umbrella again. This time, he took it. Anna stood at the doorway and watched the rain fall long after he drove away. Behind her, the house was quiet again, but something had shifted, just slightly. They'd shared a space, a moment, and for the first time since it broke, the silence between them didn't feel like the end. It felt like a pause.
It started with a box. Anna was clearing the hallway closet, looking for Chloe's old heating pad when she found it. A worn navy blue shoebox labeled in David's handwriting, Cape May 07. She almost didn't open it, but curiosity, that quiet ache, pulled her in. Inside, a Polaroid of them on the beach, sunburned and laughing. A tiny shell Chloe had given him. A napkin from the diner where they had their first fight and first kiss on the same night. And tucked beneath it all, a letter. Unopened, yellowed at the edges, addressed to Anna. Her heart stuttered. She sat down slowly, unfolded it. August 17th, 2007. Dear Anna, if you're reading this, it's because I never found the courage to say it aloud. I don't know how to be the man you need, and that scares me. You carry this family. You carry me. And I've let that happen because you're so good at it. But I see the cracks I've left in you. I see how tired you are. And I hate that you don't let me in. I want to be better. I just don't know how. But I love you. I hope that's still enough. David. Anna stared at the paper. That was the year she lost their second baby. The one they never told anyone about, not even Chloe. David had stayed strong, held her through the nights, but neither of them ever talked about how empty she had become after that. They both disappeared into silence and routine and responsibility. She never knew he had noticed. She didn't mean to call him. It just happened. The phone rang twice before he picked up. "Hello?" "I found your letter," she said simply. A long pause. Then, "I wondered if you ever would." "You never gave it to me." "I was afraid," he said. "I thought it made me sound weak." "No," she whispered. "It made you sound real." Another silence. "I should have told you," he said. "Back then, when we lost the baby. I didn't know how to help you, so I just tried to fix it, like I always do. But I didn't see you, Anna. Not really." She nodded, even though he couldn't see her. "I didn't ask for help. I thought being strong meant staying quiet. But all that silence, it turned into distance." He admitted, "I missed you, even when we were still in the same house." In her memory, Anna was sitting on the bathroom floor hours after the miscarriage. David was downstairs with Chloe, watching cartoons and eating cereal, trying to make everything feel normal. She wanted to scream, but instead, she flushed the tissue, cleaned up the blood, washed her face, walked downstairs like nothing happened. And David, watching her pour coffee, had said nothing. Not because he didn't care, but because they were both pretending they weren't broken.
The next day, David came by to drop off Chloe's charger. He hesitated at the door. "Can I come in for a minute?" She paused, then stepped aside. They sat at the kitchen table, the same one where she had confronted him just a week earlier. The cinnamon roll stain was still faintly there. He looked around, his voice soft. "Everything feels smaller without the noise, doesn't it?" She didn't answer.
I walked out thinking I needed peace, but what I really needed was presence. And you were always present, Anna, even when I wasn't. He reached into his jacket, pulled out something. The Polaroid from the beach. He slid it across the table to her. "I forgot who we were," he said, "that summer, before everything changed." She stared at the photo, her younger self smiling, skin sun-kissed, eyes full. "Before I changed," she whispered. "No," he said gently, "you didn't change. You just got tired of carrying us both." He stood. "I'll go. I just wanted to say that I remember, even if I was too late." He moved toward the door, but then, just before he opened it, he turned back. "You said I'd never find a version of you in someone else," he said. "You were right. And I hope, someday, you'll let me prove that I can still be the man who sees you." She didn't respond, just nodded. After he left, she stared at the Polaroid for a long time. Then quietly, she placed it on the fridge with a magnet. It didn't mean forgiveness, but it meant she was remembering too. It started with rain. Again. A sudden October downpour, heavy and unapologetic, turned Anna's quiet evening into a symphony of thunder and splatter against the windows. She was about to make tea when the doorbell rang. She opened it slowly, expecting a neighbor or delivery. Instead, it was David, soaked, holding a familiar Tupperware container. He lifted it. "Cinnamon rolls." She blinked. "What?" "You always said mine were terrible," he shrugged, grinning. "So I tried again." He looked like a wet dog, hair dripping, shirt clinging, eyes hopeful. She stepped aside. "Kitchen," she said, trying not to smile. "And towel now." The scent hit her first. Warm cinnamon, butter, a little too much vanilla. He handed her the container. They're probably a crime against carbs. She opened it. The rolls were messy, uneven. One was slightly burnt. They were perfect. She laughed, really laughed, for the first time in what felt like weeks. "You used the wrong pan," she said, picking up one. "These needed higher sides." "Noted," he smirked. "There's a spreadsheet in my mind somewhere titled, 'How Not to Disappoint Anna Again.'" She raised an eyebrow. "You'll need multiple tabs." He deserved that. As they ate in the kitchen, sharing bites, critiques, laughter that wasn't forced, the Bluetooth speaker in the corner clicked on automatically, a playlist she hadn't touched in years. The song that played? Harvest Moon by Neil Young, their wedding dance. David stilled. So did she. "You kept it?" he asked. "I never stopped liking it," she replied almost defensively. He set his half-eaten roll down. "Dance with me?" Anna's instinct was to say no. Too much had happened. Too many sharp edges. But something in her heart, not forgiveness, not surrender, just curiosity, moved her. She stepped into his arms. They swayed slowly in the warm kitchen light, the scent of cinnamon around them, the rain still whispering against the glass. His voice broke the silence first. "You know, I used to think I loved you because you made everything work. The house, the kids, me. But now I realize what I really loved was how you saw me.
even when I didn't deserve it.
She blinked. You stopped seeing me back. I know. They stopped dancing. He placed his forehead gently against hers. Not a kiss, just closeness. I'm not asking for everything back, he whispered. I just want you to know I remember now. And I regret it. Deeply. Her throat tightened, but her voice was steady. Regret's only useful if it turns into something. He nodded, then let it. After the music faded, they sat at the kitchen table again, drinking tea, sharing old stories. She reminded him of the time he got sunburned so badly he had to wear her silk robe for 2 days. He reminded her of the night she snuck out to meet him in college and nearly got expelled. They laughed so hard, they cried. When he left, hours later, the house didn't feel empty. It felt paused, waiting. And for the first time in years, Anna whispered, not aloud, just inwardly, maybe there's something left here. Maybe. Have you ever had a moment where laughter broke through pain, where someone surprised you with tenderness after a long silence? Tell us about it in the comments. Anna was sitting on the porch, a book open on her lap but unread. Her phone buzzed. A message from her friend, Linda. Hey, sorry to be the one to send this, but someone from my office just saw David at lunch with Claire. Said they looked close. Thought you should know. Anna stared at the screen, blinking. She didn't want to believe it, didn't want to feel the burn rising in her throat, but it was there. Claire, the younger woman, the one he said was done, the one he hadn't even mentioned in weeks. She waited until 7:12 p.m. He knocked, smiling, holding her favorite takeout in a brown bag. Surprise, he said. Pad thai, extra tofu, no onions. She didn't smile. Who's Claire to you now? His face changed. Subtly, but instantly. Anna, don't lie, not now. He set the bag down. I saw her, or rather my friend did. Said you were having lunch. You looked close. David exhaled, rubbing his forehead. She showed up at the office. I didn't plan it. She said she just wanted to talk. I didn't invite her, but you stayed. She was upset. So you comforted her? It wasn't like that. Then what was it, David? Were you saying goodbye or just making sure the backup plan still liked you? He flinched. That's not fair. Fair? You want fair? You threw 25 years into a furnace for someone who made you feel young, David. You walked out. I gave you grace, and you brought her back into this. I didn't kiss her. I didn't touch her. I swear. But you went. He couldn't deny it. Anna's hands trembled at her sides. All those nights you were distant, quiet, cold. I thought it was stress, aging, disconnection, but it was choice. And you're still making them. She stepped away from him. I let you in again. I let myself believe maybe you had changed. Maybe I had changed. But you're still reaching back for her. And I'm done competing with my own shadow. David's voice dropped to a whisper. I wasn't reaching back. I was scared. She's familiar now, too, but not in the right ways. I see that. It's too late. Her voice was soft, final. And for the first time since this started, he was the one who cried. She remembered a night 5 years ago when she almost packed her things. David had been gone for 3 days on a work trip, hadn't called once. Chloe was at college. The house felt like a tomb. She stood at the closet with the bag half-packed. But she didn't go because she didn't know who she was outside of this marriage. Now she finally did. And that scared him more than anything. David stood by the door. I want to fix it. She didn't look at him.
I think some things can't be fixed. You don't mean that. Anna turned to face him. No, but I need to mean it, because if I don't draw this line now, I'll drown trying to keep us alive. Tears slipped from her eyes, silent and slow. Leave, David. He hesitated, then stepped outside. She closed the door behind him. This time, she locked it. Not to punish, but to protect. 10:32 a.m. He was late by 2 minutes, but he came. David stood on Anna's porch in the soft fall sun, holding a small box wrapped in a dish towel. The scent of cinnamon and butter floated through the air. Anna opened the door, wearing her robe and a guarded smile. "You're late," she said quietly. "Traffic?" he replied. There was no traffic. They both knew it, and both allowed it. He placed the cinnamon rolls on the counter, still warm, still imperfect. "They're lopsided," she observed. "I'm still learning," he said. She offered him tea. They sat at the table, across from each other, like that morning when everything broke, and something else quietly began. The silence wasn't heavy. It was full. She spoke first. "I don't want the man who ran from us." He nodded. "He's not welcome here." "I don't want the man who only loves the version of me that sacrifices everything. You won't see him again." She looked down at her cup. "You hurt me." "I know. You shattered trust that took decades to build." "I know." She looked up. "But then you said something. In that message, something you hadn't said in years." He met her eyes. "That I see you now." She nodded slowly. "That matters. I thought love was safety, that if I felt restless or numb, it meant the love was gone. It wasn't. You were gone." He swallowed hard. "I never stopped loving you, Anna, but I did stop loving myself. And when that happened, I couldn't show up for you. I just took what you gave and gave nothing back." She didn't soften, but she didn't flinch. "I won't carry you again. I don't want you to. I've changed, David. I'm not the woman who would stay just to keep the story alive. I'd rather be alone than unseen. I don't want you to stay. I want you to choose me, if you can." A long pause. Then she asked, "Why now? What's changed?" He exhaled. "I stopped chasing who I was, and I started grieving who I let you become. Lonely, quiet, invisible. And I hated myself for not noticing sooner." Another pause. Then, "I want to learn who you are now, not because I miss the past, but because I believe the present version of you is the strongest, most breathtaking one." He slid a small envelope across the table. Inside was a photo, a new one, taken the day before. Him in the kitchen, flour on his face, burnt roll in the background. On the back it read, To the woman who still feels like home, not because she stayed, but because she grew. Her hands trembled slightly. She reached for his, held it.
He looked at her, eyes brimming. "You said something that day," he whispered, "when I told you I wanted someone younger." She nodded. "I said, then forget the soul that carried you." He nodded. "I never forgot." And then, with a voice full of memory, regret, and reverence, he added, "I want to carry it now, if you'll let me." She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood, walked to the record player, pulled out a vinyl sleeve with trembling fingers. Harvest Moon. She placed the needle. Music filled the kitchen. She turned back to him. "Dance with me." Not like newlyweds, not like strangers, but like people who had walked through fire separately and came out the other side, not untouched, but willing. Outside, the wind chimes rang. Inside, cinnamon rolls cooled, tea steeped, and two hands, once separated, found their rhythm again. And for the first time in a long time, Anna smiled, without armor. Do you believe people can change after breaking your heart? What would it take for you to open the door again? Share your story in the comments. Thank you for watching this story to the end. If you enjoyed this story, you will surely love the next one. It's as interesting and even more intriguing as I can ever imagine. So do check it out. Click on the image showing on your screen right now to watch the next one.